Today I'm going to show you the 7.5 most popular flamenco chord progressions. These chord progressions are called the Andalucían Cadences from the region of Andalucía in the south of Spain. Now there are 7.5 of them. The half is just a variation of one of them that is very popular. Before jumping in, I want you to know that the chord voicings or chord shapes that I'm showing you today are going to be fairly simple and very common. If you're already familiar with these chords, go ahead and add other extensions, different notes to create different colors. If you are not familiar with these chords yet, then I would recommend working on them the way I'm showing you first, and then once you're comfortable with them, begin exploring other options so that you can make them sound more interesting. With that said, let's jump into the first Andalucían cadence today. That's the por medio progression. It's also called the A flamenco progression. Again, this is the por medio or the A flamenco chord progression. Now, I'm just going to show you a close-up of my hands. The reason it's called por medio is because the root note is the 5th string, which is the bass string that's in the middle. Por medio. Medio is middle in Spanish. It's in the middle of the other two bass strings. There's another style that we're going to look at next. After this one's called por arriba. Arriba means above, which is the 6th string. That's the one that is above the 5th string. It's por arriba. So these are all traditional kind of, we'll call them street names. In the academic world, this is called, the por medio is called the A flamenco because it's the root note of A, and it's the flamenco or Andalucían cadence. You can also call it the A Andalucían cadence progression, however you want to do that. So in any event, the first chord, we're just going to look at D minor. You can look at the chord shapes on the screen. Remember to keep your fingers close to the frets. You don't want to be like this. You want to be a little bit of an angle to help your reach a little bit. And we're going to play from the 4th string, right? 4th string to the 1st string. Just use your thumb. Just use P, your thumb, pulgar, for now. Just keep it simple, just to learn the progression. If the 3rd finger is too uncomfortable, you can use your 4th finger. So that's D minor, D minor. The next chord is going to be C9. This is a very typical chord. So your 4th finger can be your anchor finger, and you're going to play these other notes here. So this is going to be from the 5th string, this is your C. This note here is your E. The 3rd finger is going to be on your 3rd string, 3rd fret. That's your B flat, which makes it a 7. And then your 4th finger is going to be on your D. That's going to be the 9th note or the 2nd note in the C major scale. C, D, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Again, so it's 2 and 9. So C9, 5th string to 1st string. All right. The next chord is going to be a B flat 6 sharp 4, and there are many other variations of this. Your 4th finger is going to stay down, that's your anchor. Your 3rd finger is going to go up to your F, right? So 3rd finger stays on D, and you're going to put your 1st finger on your B flat. That's going to be your 5th string, 1st fret. Just watch the diagram. So with this one, you got to be careful with your left wrist. You don't want to be in like this because that's going to bend your wrist. Kick the elbow out a little bit so that it feels more comfortable, and lean forward a little bit. That's going to help your wrist stay healthy. You don't want that at all. That's really, really bad for your wrist. So elbow back and out, lean forward so that you are staying healthy. And this is 5th string to 1st string. It's a B flat 6 sharp 4. Okay? And then our last chord is going to be an A add flat 2. So this is an A chord. So our 5th string is A. We're going to reset our fingers. So this is our A flamenco por medio. Remember the bass string in the middle. And you're going to put your 1st finger on E, your 3rd finger, your 3rd finger on B flat, and your 2nd finger on C sharp. Okay? So it's 5th string to 1st string. So it's A, E, B flat, C sharp, and E. Okay? And the chord progression sounds like this. I'm going to go D minor, C9, B flat 6 sharp 4, A add flat 2, or add flat 9. Same thing. In the previous chord progression, we played por medio. That's the bass string in the middle. In this one, we're playing por arriba. That's the bass string on top or above all the other bass strings. This is the E or the 6th string. So you can also refer to this as the E flamenco chord progression or the E Andalucían cadence chord progression, whatever you prefer. Academically, I've seen it used as E flamenco a lot. So otherwise, in the street, it's going to be called por arriba. So you'll hear that more often than the other academic name. So let's check it out. Okay, our first chord is going to be A minor. Again, we're going to keep it really simple. You can use any other kind of A minor chord that you like, but for now we're going to keep it simple. 5th string A, E for the second finger. Third finger is going to be on A again. First finger is on C, and then your open E. Play from the 5th string down. Our next chord is going to be a G6 chord. So it's like a G major chord, and you can use 1 and 2, or 2 and 1 in this case. I'm going to use 3 and 2. 3 is on G, 6th string, 2 is on B, and then all the other strings are open. So that's G, B, open D, open G again, open B, and then E, which makes it a 6. Okay, there are other options that you can use instead of G6, but that's the second one for now, G6. The next one is going to be a little more challenging. This is an F major 7 sharp 11 chord. A lot of people just refer to this chord as F flamenco. So this is F, third finger on C, fourth finger on F again, second finger on A, and then your open B and open E. Now, this one's a little different from a regular F because I'm not barring. I'm leaving this open, as you can see here. So the important thing is to watch your wrist, watch your left wrist, make sure you're not bending it. You don't want to be doing that. That's going to be super unhealthy. Tendonitis, carpal tunnel, avoid that. Add a little bit of arm weight, let your arm hang just a tiny bit, kick the elbow out a little bit, lean forward so that your left wrist is comfortably straight. You want, if you see my second finger, it's not totally straight, it's not hyperextended, it's fairly on the straight side. There's a little bit of a curve there. All the fingers should be nice and curved like you see them in the camera here. Okay, just be comfortable, don't press too hard. That's 6th string to 1st string, F flamenco or F major 7 sharp 11. Okay, and then our last chord is going to be the E add flat 2. The root chord is just E major, right? So it's E, B, E, G sharp, open B, open E. But to make it sound flamenco, we can either kick the third finger over, we have to slide everything over a little bit, kick the third finger over to F natural, right? That's our flat 2 or flat 9, or we can use the fourth finger like we did in the por arriba progression for D minor, right? And you play 6th string to 1st string. So whatever is more comfortable, just make sure that your wrist doesn't look like that, right? Elbow out, comfortable, no matter what finger you use. So, por arriba, or E flamenco. Okay? The next chord progression comes from Granaina. Granaina is one of my favorite styles in flamenco. It is a style that comes from the fandango family, and it doesn't have a rhythm in general. There are some rhythmic parts of it, but in general it doesn't have a rhythm. One of the most common phrases that you hear in Granaina is this. So our chords for Granaina, which is going to be, you can call it por Granaina, and it's called Granaina because that particular chord progression that I'm going to show you is traditionally what was used for the Granaina in flamenco. Now, our root note is going to be B, so you can also think of it as B flamenco or B Andalucían cadence, however you want to call it. I think B flamenco is easier, but again, the street name is just going to be por Granaina. So here are the chords. First chord, again, very simple. You can make them more complex if you want. It's just E minor. So first finger, second finger, or you can use second finger, third finger, whatever you prefer. It's 6th string to 1st string, E, B, E, open G, open B, E. Our next chord is really a D major chord like this, but I'm going to show you something that's a little bit more interesting. So we came from E minor. I'm going to make this a D add 2 over F sharp. So it's still a D major chord, but I'm changing it a little bit. It's as if I did this, but my F sharp, which is my third, I'm gonna put it up here, right? It would sound like this, but this fingering is a little bit funky, so I'm just gonna do the same notes, but change my fingering around. So I'm going to go F sharp here, open A, open D, second finger on A again, third finger on D, and my open string, that's gonna be my 2, my add 2, or the E. Okay, so this is D add 2 over F sharp. Really nice, beautiful open chord. Now, I'm going to keep my third finger down for the next chord. That's going to be my C add 2. That's going to be my anchor. Keep my third finger on D, and I'm going to put my second finger on C, 5th string, 3rd fret, first finger on E, and my 4th finger right underneath my 3rd on the 1st string, which is going to be my G. So this is my C add 2. So we've got C, E, this is my open G, D, which is my 2, my second note in C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? C, D is my 2, and then open, and then my G, which is my 5th, right? So 5th string to 1st string, and then finally my root chord, which is going to be, this is a long name, it's B add 4 add flat 2 or add flat 9. Now you can play this in multiple locations. I'm going to just show you this one for now. This is a little bit tricky, right? So there is some arm movement, some leaning to make sure that you have, so you don't end up like this. Again, carpal tunnel, tendonitis, please avoid that. Pressing too hard is going to lead to the same thing, so press lightly. Again, your notes first of all are B. There's going to be a space. There's nothing on the 3rd fret. Your second finger is going to be on F sharp, okay? Your 4th finger, this is the tricky one, that's going to be on your 5th string, 5th fret. That's going to be your C, okay? Then your 3rd finger is going to be on your 2nd string, 4th fret, which is going to be, you can think of this as D sharp or E flat. Think of it as E flat, okay? So we've got B, F sharp, or you can think of it as G flat, C, E flat, E, or D sharp E. Okay? Right, very beautiful, dark flamenco sounding chord. The root chord is just a B flat. If we add this, then we've got a flat, or add 4, right? So B, C, D, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. So watch out for that. E minor, D add 2 over F sharp, C add 2, B flat, add 4, add flat 2. Okay, so let's check out the next one, which is going to be por Taranta. The Taranta is one of my absolute favorite styles in flamenco. Like the Granaina, it also comes from the fandango family, and it is absent tempo and absent rhythm. Now there are rhythmic sections in it, but in general, there's no rhythm and there's no tempo. You basically play it freely or ad libitum. The tonic note or root note or chord for Taranta is F sharp right here, right? So this can also be called F sharp flamenco, F sharp Andalucían cadence, however you want to call it. The street name, and what you're going to hear more often than not, is just por Taranta. So this is that chord that you hear. So let's go through the chords. Again, basic chords, you can add color and change them up however you like. The first chord is a B minor. Right, that E is the add 4, B minor add 4. It gives it that kind of dark sound already. The next chord is going to be A. So A, we can do this many different ways. This is a very typical way of playing A in flamenco guitar, even in classical guitar, where I have a partial bar. I'm barring my 4th and 3rd strings, and then really I put my 2nd finger on my 2nd string, C sharp, and then just bar these 2 right above it. You can also do it this way, where it's 1, 2, and 3. So it's the notes are E, A, and C sharp. You have to have your elbow out for that and for this one. So not like this in general, right? Always play around and explore what sounds best for you. In any event, that's the 2nd chord, A, 5th string to 1st string. The 3rd chord, you can use a G6 like we did earlier, or I like to use a G13. It gives it a little bit of a cooler sound. So we've got G, B, F. This is our 7, G. We're gonna use an open B, and then our E, which was our 6 from before, but because we have the 7, this is a dominant 7 by the way, it's a flat 7 in the scale. When we have that and any other notes that come after that, then we can use the higher numbers in the octave. Instead of calling this a 6, it's now called a 13. So the chord sounds like this. And then our final chord for Taranta, or F sharp flamenco, is this F sharp 11, F sharp 11 chord. So we've got F sharp, this is a C sharp, this is an F sharp, and then we've got open G, open B, open E. Okay? And this is where you hear typical progression. So here we go. B minor add 4, A, G13, F sharp 11. The next progression is a very interesting progression that comes from the style of rondeña. Now, in flamenco, there are two kinds of rondeñas. There's a rondeña for singing and dance, which comes from the fandangos abandolao family, which is like, it's that rhythm. And then there is a rondeña for solo guitar, which also comes from the fandango family, but it's played more like a taranta or like a granaina, so it's absent time and absent rhythm. Now, I'm going to show you a standard tuning chord progression that is in the same mode, which is C sharp. So C sharp flamenco. This one doesn't have a particular name. You can call it por rondeña, but it doesn't really make too much sense because people will think of rondeña either in terms of por arriba, por medio, for singing and dance, one of those two, or they'll think of the solo guitar version of Granaina, which I'll show you after this progression. So for now, I want to show you just the basic progression so that you have more tools that you can use when you want to explore different chord progressions for all of the styles you want to play, or maybe you want to write something or just have fun. So here is the standard tuning C sharp flamenco. We can call it por rondeña, but that's technically not correct. Let's jump right in. So the first chord we're going to look at is F sharp minor 11. F sharp minor 11. And there are many ways you can do this. I'm just going to show you one of my favorite ways to do it. It's a little jazzier way to do it. We've got F sharp. We're not going to play the 5th string. So what I like to do is have my first finger mute that a little bit. So instead of opening up, I just mute it a little bit. And then my second finger is on E. Third finger underneath on A. And then we've got open B, open E. So we can go... If you want to play straight down, I'm going to do it slowly so you can hear that's muted. Or you can just play like skip that 5th string. F sharp minor 11. Then we just go to E, and again, any E major style that you like. Then we're going to go to a D major. Any D major is fine. We can use the one we used earlier. This D add 2 over F sharp, beautiful chord. Again, third finger or 4th finger on your D. And now we're going to end with a C sharp add flat 2 or add flat 9. This is a tricky chord, especially if you are a beginner or intermediate student, early intermediate. So be careful with this one. There is a partial bar. I'm going to show you in a second. There's C sharp. I'm going to have my D open. This is where it starts to get tricky, and this has to do with the wrist, by the way, and how much you lean, right? My second finger, so I've got D sharp, C sharp, open D. Third string is going to be a G sharp. Now my second finger is going to be on C sharp, and then I'm barring my first string, F sharp. Again, we get that dark flamenco sound. Okay, now from the side, you're going to see I have a partial bar here. I'm barring 1, 2, and 3. And then all the fingers are nice and curled, right? No hyperextending, none of that stuff. Look at my wrist, very comfortably straight. If I were sitting straight up, I'm trying to do this, my wrist would start to bend. That's unhealthy. Carpal tunnel tendonitis, please lean forward. Please add a little bit of arm weight, and don't press too hard. This is a tricky chord. So we're going to use this chord. Again, this is more of an advanced chord, so please be careful. Let's look at the chord progression again. So F sharp minor 11, E major, D add 2 over F sharp, or just D major, and then we've got our C sharp add flat 2. Now we're going to look at the Rondeña chord progression, or the Andalucían cadence progression, that is traditionally for solo guitar. Again, you can use all of these for any style, but I'm just showing you what is most traditional, and there's something important to note, which is how it is tuned. So let's jump in and I'm going to show you how this is tuned. Alright, so the tuning for Rondeña for solo guitar is the 6th string tuned to D. That's the same as an octave lower than the 4th string. And the 3rd string, your G string, is tuned to F sharp. So it would be like the 4th string, 4th fret. All the other strings are tuned in the same regular standard tuning. So it's a beautiful open D major chord. You can play it. It sounds amazing just like that. So let's look at the chords. Our first chord is F sharp minor. Now F sharp minor, it's here. This is our F sharp. But remember, we're tuned down to D. So we have to think D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp. So be careful when you're naming your notes or thinking about your notes with a drop tuning, different tuning. F sharp, that's going to be my 2nd finger. My 3rd finger is going to be on C sharp right underneath. My D, my 4th string is open, and I'm going to put my 1st finger on my 3rd string, 3rd fret. Now this normally would be a B flat, but remember this is tuned to F sharp. So F sharp, G, G sharp, A, right? This is an A as if we're playing. Okay, so this is, and we're not going to play the 1st string. F sharp minor. Now our next chord, is going to be an E6. E6. So we're going to keep our 3rd finger down. We're playing E here. Remember, D, D sharp, E, E. Okay, so we've got E here. We've got a C sharp here. That's our 6. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp. Right. And we've got, remember, this is 3rd string. This is a bar. So we're barring here. So F sharp, G, G sharp makes it an E major chord. And then we're going to play another C sharp, another 6 here. So only up to the 2nd string. Remember to add, if you're using bars, arm weight, lean forward, wiggle your elbow around. I don't want to see this, none of that stuff, right? Our next chord is our root, our kind of open D chord. So it's really easy. 2nd finger on D, 1st finger on F sharp. Use 2 and 3 and 2 if you want, doesn't matter. And then our root note is a C sharp. So remember D, D sharp. This is a C sharp over F, by the way. So it's D, D sharp, E, F. So 2nd finger on C, 3rd finger on C sharp. There's our flat 2. So C sharp. And then this is a little bit tricky. So I'm gonna play my open D. D is open. This is a more advanced chord. Then I'm gonna do a partial bar on strings 3 and 2. This is G. Remember, it's F, F sharp, G. I'm gonna put my my bar is also on my 2nd string. That's C sharp, and then my 4th finger is gonna go on my 1st string, 4th fret, which is G sharp. And you'll hear that. All right. So chords again. Basic chords, you can change these how you like. F sharp minor, E6, D, like that open, and then our C sharp, add flat 2 over F. The next chord progression is the Minera chord progression. You can also call it por Minera. The root note here is going to be A flat or G sharp. So you'll hear it called several different ways. Remember, the street name is what you're going to hear the most. So you're thinking Minera. Minera is a style very much related to the Taranta. It also comes from, it's one of the cantes de Levante. It's from the fandango family, but no rhythm and no tempo. There are rhythmic sections like all of these, but in general, there's no rhythm. It's played ad libitum. So let's jump right in and take a look at the chords for this one. Before we jump into the chords, make sure that you have retuned your guitar to standard tuning. So E, A, D, G, B, E, right? Not the solo guitar Rondeña. So back into standard tuning. And then we're going to go to the 4th fret. First chord in the Minera chord progression, or the A flat or G sharp flamenco chord progression, is going to be a C sharp minor. Okay, so just look at the screen there. You can see the chords. So C sharp. This is 4th fret. Right here, we've got our 4th finger on G sharp. 3rd finger G sharp. 4th finger is going to be on your C sharp. 2nd finger is going to be on your E. And then we play an E again, open E, open E rather than a fretted E. So we're not barring, we're going to be open like this, which you're going to see very commonly in a lot of flamenco guitar chord progressions. So C sharp minor, 5th string to 1st string. Then we're going to go to a B add 4. This is going to be a B major shape, but without the bar again. You can bar, but we don't need the bar for this because we want that 4, that darker sound. So because this shape is kind of funky, you're going to get that. If you're not paying attention, lean forward, elbow out, make sure that you're staying healthy. You don't want carpal tunnel tendonitis. That'll mess you up. This is a B, add 4, 5th string to 1st string. Our next chord is another A major chord. Just like we had earlier, you can use this A major with the partial bar on 4 and 3. You can use all 3 fingers like this, whichever is most comfortable for you. I prefer this, which is more typical in flamenco guitar anyway. So 5th string to 1st string, A, E, A, C sharp, E. And then our last chord, our Minera chord, this is the identifying chord for Minera, is going to be our G sharp add flat 2. Also, you can think of it as an A flat add 2 chord. This is a more advanced chord, so if you're a beginner, I wouldn't recommend trying this too much. You can give it a shot, but it is pretty tricky. So 4th finger on G sharp or A flat, 6th string, 4th fret. Your 5th string is going to be open. This is the tricky part because most people, beginners, will get that to mute. So notice what I'm doing. Elbow forward, rotating forward to open that up. And then this is going to be a partial bar on strings 2, 3, and 4 with my 1st finger. So this is kind of what it's called a reverse hinge. So, right, so I'm not, this would be a hinge bar. This is a reverse hinge, sort of backward hinge. I'm almost hyperextending my tip joint. It's not hurting. I'm not forcing that. It's just I'm lifting up so that my E is open. I can also mute the E because we don't need that note, but I'm not trying to bar it because that's just extra pressure that I don't need. So I've got A sharp, or sorry, I've got A flat, A, and then I've got these 3 notes, which are going to be D sharp. You can think of A flat or G sharp, and then we can think of this as a C. Sorry. Okay, so Minera. Right, that's our Minera chord. So again, chords: C sharp minor, B add 4, A, and then G sharp add flat 2 or A flat flat 2. Okay, Minera. This is one of my absolute favorite chord progressions. This is a more modern chord progression in flamenco guitar. It's not necessarily associated with any specific style like the Granaina was, or the Taranta, Minera, all of those. This is its own style, kind of like the standard tuning Rondeña, the C sharp tonic style that I showed you before, the Rondeña and standard tuning. You can just think of this one as D sharp or E flat flamenco. Most people will refer to it as E flat flamenco. So let's jump in and take a look at these chords. Once again, make sure that you are in standard tuning, not in your Rondeña solo guitar tuning, right? So, okay. So let's jump in and take a look at the chords that I played. This is going to be a more simplified version. The first chord is G sharp flamenco, so you can bar it like this. So this is going to be a full bar, 6th string to 1st string. This is more advanced. Now this chord progression is more advanced than the others. And you're going to put your 3rd finger on your 5th string, 6th fret. That's going to be your D sharp. So you've got. Now in the example I played this sort of G minor 7 version, sort of a jazzier version without playing the 5th string. Right, you can do that too. It's going to be 6th string and then 4, 3, and 2. But the root is that G sharp minor chord. The next one is similar to our Taranta chord, this F sharp 11 chord. Or similar to the F sharp major 7, or sorry, the F major 7 sharp 11 from the Por Arriba. Remember that from, right? Only we're taking this and we're just sliding it up a half step. Now it's F sharp 11. So same thing, no bar. Okay, nice open chord. Again, any version that you want, you can do this. Any version that you want works. Try what I'm showing you first in these, and then add more flair to it if you want. The next one is E major. And you can play an E major, add 2. Again, any version of E major that you want in any place in the guitar. And then the last one is an E flat, add 2 chord. Now this is a little bit tricky. I'm not playing my 5th string. In fact, I'm muting it. So even though I'm playing all strings, when I play it slowly, you don't hear that, right? Okay, sharp, add flat 2, or E flat, add flat 2, or add flat 9. Again, the chords: G sharp minor, F sharp 11, E major, and E flat flamenco. All right. Roughly around 80% of flamenco music uses these chord progressions, so it's very, very important that you use these. Aside from these chord progressions, which are modal, they're the Andalucían cadences, you're also going to see your regular major scales and major chord progressions, and of course your minor scales and major and your minor chord progressions. So keep that in mind. In addition to using the Andalucían cadences in different styles of flamenco, I also use them to develop my technique or to maintain technique. So I'll create exercises using all of these 7.5 Andalucían cadences. So if you don't have chord progressions already to use for your technique, you can add these in, create some fun musical things to make sure that your technique exercises are not totally boring. So make them fun, add these chord progressions, I think you're gonna love it. Once you have your chord progressions down and you're using those to develop technique, you wanna make sure that your practice is as efficient as possible. So if you wanna make sure you're doing it right, then definitely check out the next video on the screen. See you there.